guaranteed how many tricks. We have 9 off the top, right? Contract is in no danger whatsoever because we have a 5-card club suit that is solid with dummies queen to fill it out, right? So there's 5 club winners, the ace and king of diamonds, the ace of spades, and the ace of hearts. So we're not in any danger. We can cash out 9 winners if we want and make 3 no. The question is that what we should do? If you're playing teams, absolutely. Make your contract. This is match points. So how should we play this hand? If there were an over trick on this hand, most likely where would it come from? Probably the spade suit, right? Finesse the queen of spades. However, there's some danger there, right? After your heart stopper is dislodged, if you give up the lead and the hearts don't split 4-4, they can set you. This is a concern. So how do we play this hand? You can duck the first heart if you want. That would probably be pretty normal to hold up, and I don't see any reason why you have to win the first heart here. So you can hold up the first heart, but they're going to continue hearts, and now you're going to have to win the second one. All right, so let's say that's what happened. Everybody follows. Well, what should you do next? All right, I think I would run 5 rounds of clubs at them and make them start discarding. They may have some uncomfortable discards. If clubs are 3-2, one of your opponents is going to have to find 2 discards, and another one is going to have to find 3 discards. Now, somebody might have, and other honors that are lurking out there, queen and jack of diamonds somewhere, king of spades. Your opponents might give defensive signals to their partner that would indicate to you whether the king of spades is favorable as far as the finesse. Now, your opponents may also lie to you. They are not compelled to signal honestly. I mean, I would, if I'm sitting over here in the east seat and I didn't think, there would be no harm in making an encouraging discard for spades, as if I were telling my partner, hey, I like spades. Because if my partner is looking at the king of spades, he knows it's finessable, right? So he knows that my signal isn't true, and he knows exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to deceive declare into thinking that the king is offside, so the declare doesn't try the finesse. Now, of course, if I'm in the east seat, I don't know if the king of spades is in partner's hand or in declarer's hand yet, right? Because I don't know where all of the no-trumpers' points are. But there's not, at least as far as the signal is concerned, there's no harm, right? I mean, partner led the queen of hearts and declare ducked it, and then declare won the ace, and in the meantime, I probably told partner I had the king of hearts. So they know what the heart situation is. They know we've gotten off to the best lead. So. But yeah, I think I'd start by running 5 rounds of clubs, just to put the opponents under a little pressure. And they may be trying to guard some other cards, and they might pitch a couple of hearts, which now we're not too worried about. We're a little less worried about giving up the lead, right? If one or both opponents pitches a heart, it's like, well, now they've tossed potential winners here, and they can't kill us in the heart suit after getting off to the best lead. Of course, you have to pitch a couple of cards from dummy on yourself on the 4th and 5th club, right? Well, pick something that you know you're definitely not going to use, like a little spade, maybe the 3rd heart, something like that. Now, after you run off all your clubs, you can see how your opponents discard and decide what you want to do. could cash your ace and king of diamonds, but I don't think I would do that if I hadn't seen any diamond discards from my opponent. Because now you might be setting up queen or jack for them, right? But probably after 5 rounds of clubs, I think what you almost certainly should be doing next is taking a spade finesse. Yes, possibly putting the contract in jeopardy. And I know most of you probably have a really hard time doing that. But if you want the match points, you need to try and get a 430 and not just be content with a 400. That over trick is really important. And this is what we talk about, what Mike Lawrence talks about. You realize that this is bad bridge, but it's good and correct match points. This is a routine contract. Everybody else in the room has 9 tricks, right? If you take 9 tricks, you haven't done anything that everybody else in the room can't do, right? Everybody can take their 9 winners. I mean, unless some people, like I said, unless there are a couple people out there that really screwed up and somehow forgot to bid a game on these cards, you can get no better than an average board by cashing out. You will never get a better than average board if you don't take a little bit of risk. And look, like I said, there are lots of things, look, see what the discards look like, see what see what the opponent signal. You might take your opponents into account. Have you played against these opponents? Do they always seem to signal honestly? I mean, I know some people who, they just, the idea of doing something deceptive isn't even in their vocabulary. They just signal as honestly as could be. I'm like, all right, well, I think that's a signal I can trust. There are some opponents I might decide not to take the spade finesse if I see my right-hand opponent ask for a spade. I don't ask a lot about defensive carding, but on a hand like this, where I think it matters, I also look at the opponent's convention card or ask them, oh, okay, see, here comes the 9 of spades being pitched on one of my clubs. Is that encouraging? You play standard signals, you play upside down? These are the questions we want to ask. But again, if you have seen a heart discard or two, I think there's a lot more safety. Because if they have pitched potential winners, even if you take that spade finesse and it loses, as long as you still have your 9 tricks, you're no worse off, right? And if there was absolutely no way to get more than 9 tricks on this hand, all right, then you're going to be with the field and you couldn't have done any better. Now another possibility too is, especially if we wait on the diamond suit, where notice we have ace third opposite king fourth, what if it seems like the opponents are clinging desperately to their heart winners and they're not pitching any spades? But what if we see both opponents pitch a diamond or two? Well, now maybe somebody has erred, right? Maybe somebody has unguarded, maybe one opponent unguarded the queen and another opponent unguarded the jack. And all of a sudden we play ace of diamonds and a diamond of the king, and here come the missing honors falling and our little diamonds become good. So that's another possibility. This is why, as hard as it is to pay attention to all of those discards at times, you want to watch what the opponents are discarding. But yeah, failing anything else, I do think I want to take a spade for this. Did you have a question? Oh, okay. You have several. So I understand, it's hard to do that. I mean, you might be putting the contract in jeopardy. And like I said, if you're playing teams, you absolutely don't worry about that over trick. It's not worth 1 imp. I guarantee you, not worth it. Because if you go set in your cold game, not only do you get a terrible result and lose your 10 or 12 imps or whatever, you also have incredulous, angry teammates that you have to answer to.
Instead it's just one.
Right. But, I mean, that's the key to this. Yes, you should take the finesse, and yes, you could go set. I mean, if it doesn't put the contract in jeopardy, right? Like, let's say they let a heart and you still had the king of hearts. You know, what if your king of diamonds were the king of hearts? Where if you let them in and they continue their heart lead, right? Let's say you win, in that case you win the first heart trick. Now I take a finesse early on the hand, because if it loses and they continue heart, I got another heart stop. That's a no risk finesse, right? You can always afford to take that because they can't hurt you. And in fact, you're probably glad that maybe they didn't find a diamond lead or find a spade lead, something that would have been potentially more damaging to you. But we want you to take the finesses that where your contract is not necessarily guaranteed.
Is this hand playable at 5 clubs?
Well, you're gonna have a harder time coming to 11 tricks. You're probably gonna have a very hard time coming to 11 tricks. Because you'll probably lose a heart, a diamond, and then even if the spade finesse works, you probably still have the spade lose. So, yeah, I don't think I'd want to in spite of the club fit. And again, match point, right? Because 3-no making 3, same score as 5 clubs making 5, even if 5 clubs were makeable, probably on this defense, I suspect. Yeah, you need a lot of things to go right to make 5 clubs. All right, well let's look at a not so good contract. And by the way, when I talk about it being in a bad contract, I'm not necessarily referring to a complete disaster, like, oh, we had an 8 or 9 card spade fit and we played in our 4-2 heart fit. I'm not talking about a complete disaster, because I think, and this fits in with that whole have a short memory thing. If you have a complete bidding disaster and you are in a really bad contract, don't spend your mental energy trying to figure out how to get out for down 2 instead of down 3. You're just wasting your brain, right? I mean, sometimes you just have to chalk it up to, a 0 is a 0, right? And let's just get it over with. Don't play slow. Don't fall behind. Don't spend 10 minutes playing a hand that you're getting a bad result no matter what. Get it over with. Move on. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Once the auction's over, you can't fix the contract. The best declarer in the world isn't going to score any match points in a horrible contract. But what we're looking at here is it's not a horrible contract per se, but you're disappointed with where you are. And in this case, you have missed a game that you probably wanted to be. So between the two hands, we have 25 high card points. And we have a 9-card spade fit. So you're south. And we won't speculate as to what happened or why you didn't make it to 4 spades. But the fact of the matter is you have a 9-card spade fit, you have 25 high card points, and you're only in 3 spades. Now, 4 spades is not cold, is it? What tricks do we have to lose? Well, 2 clubs. And let's say they lead the ace of clubs, so they're going to go ahead and cash their 2 clubs right away. Okay. Well, we're off the ace king of clubs and the ace of hearts, right? So this game is 50-50, right? This is on a finesse for the king of spades. We have the queen, 10, and jack. Assuming that that they're going to take their 3-side suit winners and not mess that up on the fence, and that's actually pretty hard not for them to not take all their side suit winners. You really don't have any quick way to pitch. You don't really have any useful pitches. So it's a 50-50 game, right? It's no guarantee, but we feel like the field is going to be in this game, right? So when the dummy hits, we think, we missed the game we should be in. Now, what you are wishing for but can't control at this juncture, you're probably really wishing that the king of spades is offside, right? You're wishing that you would play the 10 of spades or queen of spades or a small spade to the jack, and then it will lose to the king. And then along with those 3 side suit winners, that's enough to beat 4 spades. So you think about what's going on around the room. Well, the room is playing 4 spades. And probably the only way that we're most likely the only way that we're salvaging a good result here is if 4 spades doesn't make. What this also points to, though, is that you shouldn't necessarily play the hand, and that's what we're doing now. We're getting into the declare play. You shouldn't necessarily play the hand the way everybody else in the room is playing it, because you are not in the right contract. Does anybody know what you should do differently in this situation? What about a spade to the ace? Do something anti-percentage. Do something different than the rest of the room is doing. It may or may not help you, because you probably won or lost this board in the bidding. Who knows? Maybe you'll drop singleton, king of spades offside. And then, in case there was anybody else in the room that, now we figure probably around the room, people are going to take the finesse, possibly losing to singleton, king of spades. Figure if people are in the game, they're probably not going to find that play. But do something different. Do something anti-percentage. Because this board was probably decided on the auction.
Are you saying, well, hell, I have nothing to lose, so I might
Pretty
as
much.
well. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let me have some fun. And might as well try.
We're just telling, we're telling you to go again, to be willing to go against the grain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what if we had something like, I don't know. Like let's say they cashed ace and king of clubs to start off, and then let's say they switch to a diamond, a small diamond. All right, so you win the diamond because you've got all the big diamonds, right? What if you took a spade finesse and it lost to the king, and East came back with a diamond and gave their partner a rough? Not likely, but possible, right? Now even 3 spades is going set. And anybody who, if the defense went the same way for the people in 4 spades, they may be going down too. But by playing a spade to the ace and another spade, this would work as what we would call a safety play.